Hi everyone. My name is Toni. I'm a registered dietitian and I am the business owner of Diet Tips with Toni MSRD LLC. It's an online private practice where I provide individualized nutrition counseling for those looking to develop a healthier relationship with food, whether it be managing their weight or just controlling that over or under eating and the inconsistencies that are usually correlated to a healthy lifestyle or adapting towards a healthy lifestyle. It's no fad diets or quick fixes with me. It is a total lifestyle change. Each week I go live and I do Tips with Toni Topic Tuesdays. I'm really excited for tonight though, because instead of me providing you with nutrition information and guidelines, I have another registered dietitian coming on to talk about soy. Soy has been all over the news and the internet. Is it good for you? Is it bad for you? What is it? How do you prepare it? All of those things. So we're going to go into that today. Thanks for tuning in. Hi. I'm on a little bit early because I just wanted to share some updates before I have my guest on today. I am not going to be going live next Tuesday. I'm going to be providing a live presentation in White Plains, New York, but it's exclusive to members. But either way, I won't be able to go live next Tuesday, but I will definitely be back on the following Tuesday, which I believe is already May 1st. Like, where is May going? If you have not already subscribed to the Tips with Toni podcast or the Gym Wits podcast, please do so. We're on Apple, Spotify, Libsyn, pretty much anywhere where you could listen to a podcast. You can find my podcast along with the Gym Wits podcast. And if you have not yet taken the Are You a Healthy Eater quiz, please do that. It is in the link in my bio in Instagram, or you can go to www.tipswithtoni.com. There's also an opportunity for you to subscribe to my email list, and by subscribing to my email list, you get more updates and more, you get to know about things that I'm going to be running in the future, like free challenges and stuff before most of the people know about it. And you can see my lives that I post each week. You get the full copy to my YouTube channel and all of those details as well. All right, so we are going to get started in just about 2 minutes. If you have any questions, hey! So we're going to get started in just about a couple minutes. I'm going to have a guest on tonight. But if you do have any questions, please put them in the comments and send them through. And if we have time, we're going to address them. My live videos each week are just for about a half hour. So we have 8 to 8:30. However, I have a feeling with a guest, it might go a little bit longer. Everything that is going to be discussed tonight, I'm going to save it, download it, and put it on my YouTube channel. So if you are not able to sit through the whole time, don't worry, you'll be able to post it. But definitely send me a message and let me know that you want the copy so I can send it to you directly. And that is it. I have never invited anyone onto a live before, so please be patient as I invite Andy on. He's a registered dietitian, and he's actually a registered dietitian from Canada, and I'm going to explain more when he comes on, but he wrote an article recently about soy, and I read it, loved it, and I was going to be doing all this research about soy to present for you guys, but I figured, why should I present on a topic when I have a very knowledgeable registered dietitian who's able to present on it himself? Hello! Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm really excited to get started. All right, so I'm going to try and figure out how to invite him. Nope, we can't do that. Go live with Andy. There he is. Okay, we're going to invite him on. Here! Okay, I just invited you.
Hey, I'm here.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. It worked.
Yes. Okay, my head's on the bottom. So
What's that? You're good?
no, I know. We're good. My face is, I'm just trying to get it. So, okay, give me
I
1 second.
know, I didn't realize. Maybe I should go like this with
No,
my...
no. I don't think that actually changes it. I think I need to just elevate my phone. Give me 1 second. It's okay.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
1 second. All right. Give me almost there. Set it up. There we go.
Hi guys, thanks for tuning in. Awesome.
Sorry, I was adjusting it.
No, you're fine.
Wonderful.
I went on a little bit earlier just to give some updates to my followers because I usually go live every Tuesday and I'm actually not going to go live next week. So I just wanted to let them know.
Okay. This is your first time doing it with somebody else, you said, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Sweet. Lovely.
Oh my gosh. But I just want to say thank you so much for doing
No
this. I'm going to give you time in a minute to introduce yourself to everyone.
Sure.
But I definitely read your article, absolutely loved your article, and it was everything that I was going to research and look up, and you had it all done. So.
Well, sorry, I spoiled it for you. That's kind of sad.
No, it's not at all. Do you know?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I'm sure as well. Like, I know I love everything that you're doing, and you know, I work full time and I run my business on the side, so it's very busy all the time.
Yeah,
This is like one less thing I had to really like, even though you kind of know going into it what you're gonna say,
right?
It was really one less thing I had to like go into greater detail about. So I really appreciate it. You saved me a ton of time.
Okay,
and
awesome.
I trust your judgment and everything that you read up on. So
thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you reading it at all.
Of course. Can you just explain to everyone, because for people on my page that don't know you, I'd love for them to know who you are, what you do, and a little bit more about yourself, where you're from.
Sure. So I'm from Toronto, Canada, north of the border here, and I do private practice dietitian stuff. Basically,
nice.
You know, like general kind of weight management and healthy eating practice, and I do writing from my site. I do paid writing, and I do all sorts of other stuff in between, all sorts of little projects and talks and all sorts of other networking and all sorts of fun stuff, but primarily private practice. And yeah, that's
How
it.
long have you been in RD for?
People always ask me that. Like, it must be 4 years, I guess. Yeah, 4.
Oh, so I think we both started around the same time.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
Cool.
That's so great. I wonder how much different the Canadian guidelines are versus the US guidelines.
You know what? I think we probably copy you guys sometimes, you know, because I think you guys just have more resources. So I know, like, food labeling, if you guys make a big change, I think we kind of consider it, you know. So I think we look to you guys a lot because you guys just have more resources. But I don't know. I'm not super familiar, but I'm going to bet that it's relatively similar. You know, I don't think it's that different. Obviously, healthcare is different, but in terms of guidelines, it's probably similar.
Yeah, well, yeah, food is food, right? So.
Right, exactly.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about soy. Can you just kind of explain, like, I mean, this is kind of, I feel silly, RD to RD, but for the viewers, what is soy, what products contain soy, and maybe why are people fearing incorporating it in their diets? Because that's definitely what I hear.
Right. Yeah, so I guess, you know, so soy comes from soybeans, which is a legume, you know, not that much different than, you know, lentils, chickpeas, and things like that. And all these byproducts that you see, like tofu or soy milk, it's, you know, it's just a process, and process is not a negative word in this light as well. Like, don't take it the wrong way. It's like physically, it's a physically processed version of the soybean to create these products. So edamame is like actually actual soybeans in the pod. So that's another common one. But soy milk and tofu, and then there's a variety of other, you know, related products that may be made from like soy protein that's extracted. Like, you know, I just recently tried, I don't know if you guys have Eve's. It's a vegan brand. I don't know if I have it. I do have it. 1 second.
Sure.
This is ground beef, and I just discovered this product. And I don't know if you guys have this in America, but
not that particular brand, I don't believe. But
if any, I mean, this product is amazing. It's basically a ground beef mimic that's made from soy protein. So it's just awesome. It tastes really good, and it's great for people who maybe aren't into tofu for whatever reason. This tastes great, and this is essentially tofu, more or less. You know.
Right. What should
Yeah.
someone be looking for if they are going to have something? I think like you nailed it when you said it's processed, and in this form it's not necessarily bad that it's processed.
Right.
Can you explain the difference between something that would come in a box, like what you want to look for, versus like having tofu?
Right. Yeah, I think you definitely want to look for the words soy protein near the top of the ingredients list.
Mm-hmm.
You know, soy is a high quality protein, and I don't know what some of these other, like, you know, some other vegan products may use wheat as the primary protein source. Soy is up there in terms of high quality protein sources. So definitely look for the words like soy protein somewhere on the ingredients list, near the top preferably, and then you kind of know you're getting something solid.
Right, rather than just a lot of fillers and preservatives.
Right, and you know, and the source of the protein may not be the most like highest quality, most like available, biologically available source. Like I won't get into all that stuff, but if you're looking for something made of like something similar to tofu, like you want to have soy in the ingredients list. That's generally a decent sign for these type of products.
Exactly.
If like wheat is the first ingredient, you know, then you're looking probably more like at wheat protein, which is not quite the same level of quality in terms of how our bodies can use it. So definitely something that has like soy near the top. Mm-hmm. Which actually might make it a little more expensive as well, but it's still going to be cheaper than real meat, realistically.
It's usually, definitely. Yeah. I think soy, tofu, tempeh is another form of it. It's usually way cheaper than animal protein, and so it's really great for someone on a budget that's also looking to eat healthier, have a healthier option.
Yeah, and this stuff tastes like real, like it tastes like amazing, you know.
Yeah,
this is just one example, but.
So can you let's talk a little bit more about the benefits of soy, because there's a lot of fear, and we can talk about fear in a minute, but I do want to focus on the positive of how could someone benefit from incorporating more soy in their diet?
Yeah, I think the biggest selling point for soy is not necessarily that it is a superfood, you know, it's a legume like all the other ones that have their benefits. I think the biggest selling point of soy is that it allows people to kind of ease away from always needing to have an animal product for their protein. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think that's a problem that a lot of us have. And I'm not a vegan or vegetarian, you know, so like I don't say this from any perspective besides just like objectively speaking. Mm-hmm. I think we can all benefit from shifting our ratios, having a little bit less animal protein, a little more plant protein, because you know when we do that, you know, health outcomes get a little bit better. You know, cholesterol tends to go down a little bit, and risk for disease tends to go down. So I think that's really the benefit, is it just gives us an opportunity to just not rely always on animal products. And there's a lot of, like, again, I'm not a vegan or vegetarian, but, you know, I think there's a lot of ethical value to that as well. I think you can feel good to say, like, you know, one night a week, you can have, like, not something that came from an animal, like, once in a while. I think we should all be able to say that. That's just, like, a personal belief.
Sure.
Beyond anything else. So, yeah. So that is really its greatest value, you know?
Yeah, I think it's definitely, you're creating variety. You're having, like what you said, and it's, I mean, so in America, heart disease is the #1 killer of Americans, and that's usually coming from saturated fat. When you have something like tofu, there's like minimal. I don't even think there is any saturated fat in it. You know, it's mostly, especially if you're doing the edamame, the beans themselves, you're gonna have a nice source of protein and fiber and all the other nutritional benefits.
Right.
Absolutely.
Antioxidant content as well. Like, you know, you're not going to find antioxidants in beef. Let's put it that way.
Exactly.
You know? You're not going to find fiber in beef.
Exactly.
You know?
And it's not that the meat is bad. It's just people tend to be over consuming it. You know, they're not having half their plate non-starchy vegetables and a quarter protein and the quarter starch. They're having mostly the meat as the center of the plate. So if we can get them to cut back a little bit, it doesn't have to be all or nothing, but just finding the balance. Yeah,
absolutely. And soy is great for that, you know.
Definitely.
Just like, you know, I can't tell someone that switching from skim milk to soy milk is going to have a life-altering effect on their health. Mm-hmm. But I think as part of a few other changes, I think it gets you going in the right direction. Mm-hmm. And And I personally, like, and that's exactly what I tell people. I think that's an easy swap to do as well, in all honesty. I think soy milk for cow's milk is an easy swap. And soy milk tastes really good for anyone who might be afraid to try it. It's awesome, you know.
Definitely.
For what it's worth, not that it matters, I much prefer soy milk. Not that really matters, but just
Well,
say.
if you try, I think also too, I think people need to try foods before they
Yeah.
decide to dismiss it or not.
Right, sure.
Yeah. All right. So we know that it is a better alternative to, you know, incorporating more of like a plant-based type of eating or just limiting your animal intake. Now, but what is the fear behind it? Like what in your article, you read some research about certain factors that people were, the reason why they're avoiding it. Like I love your posts because they're so funny.
Yeah,
but like
yeah,
how they're gonna like soy's gonna give men boobs. Like, can
Right,
you talk
right,
about
right.
that? Because that is the big misconception.
Right. Yeah, I think there was one study, like maybe in rats, and maybe one small human study, like that was crappy, that maybe like suggested that soy was going to affect hormones in men. And there's no real evidence of that, like no real actual
Right.
valuable evidence. So guys, definitely, they've heard that. Guys have heard it's going to affect their hormones, it's going to affect their testosterone.
Because it has estrogen in it. It does have estrogen in it.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
it has the estrogen, like the phytoestrogens that like lightly mimic estrogen, which doesn't really have an actual profound effect.
Right.
But people have heard that, you know. So that's guys think that, and women time and time again are afraid because of, you know, gynecological cancers like breast cancer. They think it's going to increase their risk of female specific cancers, and in fact, like what I showed on my on my blog is that, you know, soy intake tends to actually be associated with a reduced risk of breast and other women's cancers. So those are the two primary concerns, you know. Right, should always be non-GMO. I mean, the thing is this, is a lot of the products you buy in the stores, like for example, the most popular soy milk brand, which is Silk Soy, is organic, right? So non-GMO, for people who are watching that, in other words, like that means organic for all intents and purposes, okay? Like it's not exactly, there's a little bit more to it, but organic is non-GMO. So you actually are most likely to be having non-GMO. As far as like the difference, like we can't really say for sure that GMO has a negative health impact. And
right. The nutrition profile isn't really changing it. It's the way it was prepared.
Right. So if it makes you feel more comfortable, you know, it's really easy to get soy organic. So go ahead and get it. You're probably having the organic without even knowing it realistically too.
Exactly. So, and we're talking about whole soy. We're talking about tofu, edamame, soy milk. You know, we're not talking about like if you're just hopping on, we're not talking about the veggie burgers that like it's mostly wheat and fillers and even like, and we'll get to it, but like soy lecithin I know is utilized a lot for preservatives or maybe something else that I don't know. But you know, when you're having it in the whole form, just like I'm sure you've heard as registered dietitians talk before, like whole foods first, then that's not something that we really want to, you know, we need to be hyper sensitive about.
Right. And it's not also about making soy like a 3 times a day, everyday thing. It's really just like, you know,
it's another alternative.
Yeah, have a glass of soy milk, have a few tofu meals a night, and that just takes you a step closer to dietary balance. Can you live healthfully without ever having soy? Absolutely, you can.
100%. Just like you can live healthily without ever having grilled chicken. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely. I am curious though, because I did read something about people with hypothyroidism or thyroid conditions like Hashimoto's. They should avoid soy. Is that true?
Right. So from what I understand, there may be an interaction with the medication for those conditions. Follow your doctor's guidance on that. I think that may be, like, I don't really work with people that often on those medications, but I think it may be a time sensitive thing. So it has to do with absorption of the medication primarily. So, you know, if you are instructed to, you know, don't do it on a whim. Most likely whoever's prescribing that medication is going to, you know, provide you the information you need. But yeah, my understanding is it might be a time sensitive absorption issue with those medications. So that's definitely a consideration as well. My feeling though is that people who are on those medications are going to hopefully have been informed of that. They shouldn't rely on this particular Instagram live to learn that. I would hope that their provider would give them the proper education about the medication. That would be
I completely agree.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you saying that. And I also think that you know, for those of you who know, when you're following anyone on social media, even when they have credentials next to their name, and as registered dietitians, we are the nutrition experts in the field. Our guidelines are for general healthy eating practices. We're not saying, you know, if you have a medical condition, if you're taking medication, if your doctor told you to follow a specific diet, you know, meet with an RD individually.
Right.
You know, that's really where you're going to find your ultimate guidelines. More recommended guidelines for sure.
Yeah. And you know, it could be specific, like perhaps certain doses like are not interfered with, like, you know, there's a lot of details, and it's not like a run-of-the-mill thing where it's like, yeah, if you or someone you know is on this medication, stop having soy. I don't think that's the case. I think, you know, there's someone who is well educated in that medication who you can get guidance from.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? And put faith in them, I would say.
Definitely. Now, do you feel like you can have too much soy?
Yeah, you know, I highly, highly doubt that. You know, I've not encountered anything where it's like, okay, people having more than this amount of soy are getting negative health outcomes. I think realistically, most people are going to have, if they have soy, they're going to have, you know, a moderate amount, and it's not going to be problematic. I just can't imagine that 99% of people are ever going to encounter that potential issue. And I haven't heard that I haven't seen or heard that there is a risk with having too much hay, unless it's like displacing other foods.
Yeah, that's exactly where my head was going.
Exactly. And that just seems so unlikely, you know.
Yeah, because I guess the person I would think of that might be having too much soy in this is probably maybe like a vegan, right? But in the sense of, you know, we know that in any diet you want variety. So if you are a vegan and you do have like tofu and tempeh and soy milk and edamame, you know, on a regular basis, you also want to remember about your other proteins, like your beans, your nuts and seeds, the other forms of legumes. Like, it doesn't always have to be, although it's a great complete protein and it's a great source and you're going to get your essentials, but you can do that in a balanced diet with variety. So it doesn't always have to be coming from soy.
Yeah, my inclination is that a meat eater eating too much beef is probably a much more risk for negative health effects than a vegan eating too much soy. I just think that realistically, that is probably a good way to look at it.
That's a great perspective for sure. Yeah. Absolutely. All right, so let's talk about like soy lecithin. Or the other, I'm pretty sure there's other fillers where they'll use soy in certain like processed foods.
Right. Yeah. My take on that, and I was asked today to talk about, you know, and again, that's like, remember I talked about, you know, acrylamide in coffee recently, and I was asked today to talk about, you know, pesticides on crops by like a news outlet. And I think, you know, when you eat a diet that's primarily, if you're eating the way that I hope you would, and I hope most people would, eating primarily whole foods and minimizing, you know, foods that have a long, extensive ingredient list for the most part, and having those foods once in a while, I just think that like there's so many other concerns than that. So I just don't think worrying about one or two ingredients that may or may not be in soy milk or a veggie burger you like that you have once in a while is like really a legitimate concern in comparison to when you look at the fact that most people are falling short in a number of vitamins and minerals. They're falling short in, you know, fruits and vegetables, the foods that we know are associated with long life. You know, nuts and seeds and fruits and vegetables and fish, you know, the intake of these foods is associated with reduced risk of death, you know. So, like, if you're not, those are the things we need to be worrying about, in my opinion, not the incidental exposure to some of these other things. Like, you know, I think that's just the only way to look at it. I think like people don't need to burden themselves too much with those type of things. Like, that's my opinion on that.
I completely agree. Unfortunately, I think what happens is we hear one thing and then people I know become fearful and then they just avoid it rather than, you know, hold on a minute, where's that resource coming from? Let me educate myself. You know, how much is too much? Is it really the process, that one single ingredient, or is it the fact that the entire thing that you're consuming on a regular basis is highly processed versus do you have that balance of fruits and vegetables and whole grains and lean proteins? And yes, maybe your protein bar has soy lecithin, but the rest of your
Right.
day is mostly whole foods. Like, it's okay.
Yeah. And hey, at the same time, if you've read something about a food ingredient and you don't feel comfortable having that ingredient, then hey, you don't have to have it. That's cool too. Like, you can avoid it by having whole foods, like, no problem. Like,
Right.
you know, sometimes people have come to me and, you know, you better believe that if someone's read that soy is going to increase the risk of breast cancer, even if I tell them otherwise and they trust me and they respect me, like, sometimes that's not enough. And I respect that, because
Yeah.
when you've heard of something causes a serious problem, you know, sometimes you're like, all right, I'm done. And
Especially if
that's okay.
yeah, and especially like if you watch your mother go through treatment
Sure.
and yours in your family, like I completely understand, and
Right.
no one, it's not to be forced. I think what we're trying to do and what I try to do as an RD is to help teach people what they can eat and what they can expand their palate with, and that it doesn't have to
Right.
be restricted, and not
Right.
everything is off limits. Because if you can't have we hear all the time, like, meat's bad for you. You can't have meat.
Yeah.
You can't have soy. You can't have dairy. What
Right.
can you have?
Right. Right.
You
Right.
have
Right.
to
Right.
find the balance between it all, and it's the lifestyle as a whole rather than just single food or single nutrients
Right.
that people tend to focus on.
For sure. For sure. People come to me all the time and they are, you know, they're tired of being like reading what they can and can't eat, and they just want a balanced, kind of wholesome approach to carry on their life. And like, that's definitely part of it, is to just kind of, you know, relax to a certain extent and just take a step back, know that there's a core group of foods that will definitely improve the quality of your life and your health.
Mm-hmm.
And then just, you know, sweat the other stuff a little bit less. And that's it. You know, focus on what we know to help you, not what may or may not give you 1% a risk of this or that. Know like what we know is like substantially going to improve your health.
Mm-hmm.
And focus on that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So even if these incidental ingredients, this exposure has a small effect on your risk, it like pales in comparison to the benefit and the protective effect you get from the important foods. So it's important to keep that in mind as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is great. I'm so happy that we're doing this.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess the big question is now if someone wants to prepare, let's say, tofu, because I think some of the other soy products are pretty self-explanatory, or if I think the what I hear a lot is tofu's bland, or I don't know how to cook it. How do I prepare it? What do I do with it?
Right.
Maybe could you shed a little light on that?
Yeah. Okay. So fortunately, I had help with tofu recipes in my life. So if you go to on my site, if you go to my blog and search tofu, there's 2 good recipes on there, and I'm gonna elaborate on that now. And I'm the tofu. I do love tofu and soy milk. I swear by it. And
I have tofu on a regular basis as well.
Right. Good.
Yeah.
So tofu, yeah, I think there's a few ways to go about it. Okay, the first is a tofu scramble, and this is no particular order. Okay, that's when you take the brick of tofu and you literally crumble it with your hands into a crumble.
So what consistency should someone use for that?
You know what? I like extra firm. It's down to personal preference, though, in all honesty. I like extra firm because extra firm resembles the foods that we know more, in my opinion, right? That's not like soft and gooey. It's firm. You crumble it down, and like literally, again, you can find the recipe on my site or online. You literally Google tofu scramble. You're going to put a few seasonings, turmeric, chili powder. You're going to put it on your pan, and it's going to come out looking and tasting like scrambled eggs.
Yeah.
So done. So easy.
And fast, right? Like tofu is so quick to prepare.
It is really quick to prepare. It's honestly like, it's hardly any more difficult than actually preparing scrambled eggs, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one way. The other way, take the tofu, cut it down the middle, and then down this part. I'm not good with like describing this in words. You create into 4 rectangles. Okay, do I get the wetness out first? Personally, like, that's probably the right way to do it. On my recipe on my site, that's probably what it says. Like, I don't care. I crumble with my hands. It tastes fine. So like, if you're a foodie and like you go through these steps of like patting it down, like, all the power to you. Like, I can't be bothered with that. It tastes fine for me. But yeah, you could probably like put a paper towel on it and push out some of the fluid.
there's not going to be as much moisture and extra firm than there is in like the firm versus the medium and all that.
My phone's at 10%, so I'm just going to go down on the floor so I can charge it. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So that's another way. Tofu steak is one I like a lot, which is what I say, cut into rectangles. Literally, onion powder, black pepper, like you might like an actual steak, beef steak, and like you can put it on the frying pan. You know, if you have a grill, an electric grill, you put it on there, comes out great. You can even put it on your barbecue. You can also cube it and make a stir fry. You know, it's literally.
It's a sponge.
It never ends. Like
yeah,
so tofu steak.
There's like not a lot of flavor, so whatever you cook it with, you're gonna get that flavor.
Exactly. Like if you like a chicken teriyaki stir fry, you can make a tofu teriyaki stir fry. Literally, it's the same. It's like it's very similar, and tofu is really really versatile. And now because of how pervasive the vegan movement is, there's so many plant-based recipe websites.
So many.
So you're gonna be able to find these epic recipes that these brilliant foodies, not me, but other people who have come up with, and it's gonna blow you away how good it is.
Yeah.
And then it's like when you spend $3 on a brick of tofu, or in America, $3 Canadian is like 25 cents. So 25 cents American on a brick of tofu, it's beautiful. You're just.
I'm really impressed that you know the changing currency because I don't.
I'm exaggerating. No. It's not gonna be 25 cents. I'm sure it's a little more expensive. But it's substantial.
Yeah. Well, you know, tofu in it's $1.99 on sale. Sometimes $2.49.
Yeah, great.
You know, for a whole block.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And like that's what are you gonna get? That like eggs. Okay, eggs are relatively cheap. That's fine. But what kind of meat that's like minimal saturated fat are you gonna get for that price? Like nothing.
Right. Exactly.
What are you gonna get? Maybe bacon. You know, for that price point.
Which is more fat than protein.
Right. Well, you can't even compare it. It's absolutely incomparable. Yeah, so it's economical. Like the thing about, again, soy is economical, ethical, and it's good for you.
Definitely.
So I would encourage you or someone you know to like kind of abandon your whatever preconceptions you have. And I was in the same boat. Like I wasn't a soy lifer. I was in Florida on a vacation 4 or 5 years ago, and I only had enough money in my pocket because I forgot my wallet, American money, to buy a dish that had soy in it, had tofu, because it's less expensive. So I literally was like, I'm so hungry, I'm getting something, and tofu was what I got because I wanted to have protein, and that was my first time trying it, and you know what? Like I never looked back. So you know, just give it a shot.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Andy. You've been absolutely brilliant. So what I do with all my videos is I save them, I put them on my YouTube channel. So when I've actually never saved it on Instagram before. I've only done it on Facebook. So I don't think like all the questions and stuff are gonna pop up. I don't can you just share with people like where they can find you?
Sure.
You know, your name on Instagram or your website, all that stuff. So that way if they find it on YouTube, they'll know where to.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So I'm just typing it in, but I'm not sure that's even going to show up. Oh, yeah, you're right. It might not show up, you said. Yeah. So.
Sure. Yeah. But this will be on my live for Instagram. This will stay, but.
Right. Yeah. So, Andy the RD. It's all one word. ANDYTHERD. And that's my Insta and my website. So if you're into reading nutrition stuff, like I got a blog, which I put an insane amount of time and effort into, and I'm pretty proud of. So check it out and subscribe to it. And,
it is really good. Yeah. Like I give you a lot of credit. I started doing videos because I got tired of writing.
Right. Well, I actually am starting a writing tutoring service too, but that's for another day. So
cool.
Yeah, for people who just want to like learn how to write more efficiently and effectively, especially like health writing, because I get those questions all the time. So. Yeah.
I think I'm going to check that out for sure.
Yes.
I don't like to write at all, but I love to educate. So whatever I have to do to get my point across and teach people, I'm going to do whatever course it takes to get that done.
Yeah. And writing's not for everyone. And thanks, Izzy. This is Fadi Friendly is my friend Isabel from Australia, who I've actually met in Toronto before. She's awesome. So yeah. I mean, writing's not for everyone. That's cool too. But hey, if someone wants to be a better writer and they're like being held back, that's what the service is going to be for. So I'm working on it now because who needs to sleep at night? And coming soon.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Andy. Is there anything else you wanted to say or leave with
No, just thanks for having me. Thanks for, caring about what I have to say. It's always a novel thing. People actually like read my stuff and care. I know I appreciated it. So thank you.
Oh, of course. Absolutely. And just for the viewers, guys, the big takeaway is soy is safe to incorporate in your diet. But with like anything, you want balance, variety,
Right.
try experiment new things. It's just another thing that you can add that's going to benefit your health. So don't fear it.
Right. Absolutely. Couldn't have said better myself.
All right, Andy. Well, have a great night. Thanks for tuning
Okay.
in.
You too.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone. All right, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate you tuning in. I actually will not be going live next Tuesday, but I will be back to my regular scheduled lives, Tips with Toni Tuesdays, every Tuesday at 8 p.m. starting on May 1st. If you need to follow me, you can email me, or if you have any questions, email me at tipswithtoni@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow me on my Facebook page, my YouTube channel, the Tips with Toni podcast, and what else? The Gym Wits podcast. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Have a great night. Bye.